Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Overtime with myself, Mr. Fantastic. It's been a while. We took a little break, and today we've got some special guests. I feel like we came back with a bang. We actually got some celebrities on the show. We're a bit starstruck. They're kind of big right now in the whole UK gospel scene, and I'm really honored to have them on the show. We got Gospel X. Would you guys like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Naomi. I'm 16. I'm the youngest member of Gospel X. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Temi. I'm 19. My birthday is in a week, actually. I'm almost 20. So I'm actually the oldest in the group. But yeah.
Hi, my name is Joy and I'm 19. And yeah. I'm not in any position. I'm probably one of the middle people, so
Hi, I'm Miracle. I'm 19 as well. I'm soon to be 20 as well. Yeah.
Right, cool. So thank you all for coming onto the show. And basically, like we normally do on Overtime, just want to, understand what inspired you guys to do what you do. Did you face any challenges? How did faith play a big part in, you guys doing what you do? Because obviously I have my own, I don't do music. I mean, I think I could. I think I'm quite talented. I feel like I'm on Nas's level when it comes to rapping. But but I have my own perceptions of of making Christian music, of making gospel music. I feel like from the artists in which I listen to, I listen a lot to CHH, Christian hip hop. I feel like there's a lot of pressure put onto gospel artists, especially in the fact that because you lot communicate faith, similar to kind of like what I do. When you communicate faith to people, I feel like there's like a standard. I feel like there's a like you're kind of held higher than other people. Do you know what I mean? Like there's successful people that are Christians, and it's like, oh, okay, he plays football and he's a Christian. But it's like when you make music and you make music for Christ, it's like the two can't be separated. Not saying that it should, but like the two can't be separated. And I feel like once you communicate faith with people, it's kind of a thing of where like they don't say it, but kind of like they put you on the same level as like a preacher. And I feel like that's why with people like Lecrae, I feel like when Lecrae does anything, it's just so controversial. It's like, oh, why are you doing this? When he dropped his new album, absolutely amazing. I love it. But the fact that Kurt Franklin was the only gospel feature, everyone was going mad. Twitter was going crazy. People were like, oh, what's wrong with this guy and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Do you girls feel like, obviously you started doing music. Do you feel like this pressure is true? Do you feel like it's something that you've taken into consideration? Is it something that you've thought about, or am I tapped like to think like this? Like, what's your view?
No, I think you're right to like some extent. I think it more affects bigger artists just because they have like more of a, like when you have like a very established fan base and you do something that's different, there's always going to be backlash because that fan base expects something of you. But like our fan base is growing, but it's relatively small, so there's no one really holding us to the specific standard as of yet, I guess.
Yeah, I hear
that. Also, what I would say is like the thing which you were saying, that people are very critical of like whatever Lecrae does, obviously because he is a big artist and obviously a big like Christian artist. But I feel like there's that kind of thing just with Christians in general, like compared to like non-Christians. So like for example, say like I don't know, like some Christian influencer is on live and then like someone joins them and then they do something silly. This kind of similar thing happened. They were talking about it on Twitter, and like, yeah, say someone goes on and they're like spitting bars or whatever and then they mess up and everyone's like dragging them and just bantering and stuff. And obviously there's always going to be that one person who's like, as Christians, we shouldn't act like this. Jesus wouldn't laugh at this person. Like, it's that kind of thing. I feel like with Christians, there's always that kind of pressure. Like, I don't know, people kind of hold you a bit more accountable to different things. I mean, sometimes it does get to the point where it's like, Christians are allowed to laugh, do you know what I mean? But yeah, like, in general, obviously with Christian music and stuff like that, but even just general being a Christian, people are always like holding you a bit more accountable, like, you know, as a Christian, should you be doing this? Which is a fair point, but yeah, sometimes it becomes a lot.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Anyone else want to share anything?
I was just gonna say, I feel like we're actually quite like when we kind of started making music, we were aware of like the fact that our base is like, our fan base is like Christian, but we also know that we kind of appeal to like a younger audience who might not necessarily be Christian, because of the fact that like our music isn't necessarily like really like gospel-y, like churchy music. It's like quite like music that anyone can listen to, but it's just also the fact that it's Christian. So I think for us specifically, we like know that we should be collaborating with like Christian artists and making Christian music and stuff, but we don't feel like pressure to make our music sound a certain way, as long as like the lyrics and stuff are like Christian. But then we don't feel the pressure to be like, we have to make this kind of music, because of the fact that we're appealing to like a wider audience, rather than just like people who go to church, people who are really Christian. So I feel like we have like an opportunity to like branch out more. I think.
I agree with that. Like, for instance, the way how I came across CHH was a bit different. So obviously I grew up in church. You know, my dad's a preacher. So grew up in church, stuff like that. But I never really liked gospel music. So I grew up listening to like hip hop. I grew up listening to Eminem, 50. Then when I started getting a bit older, due to like my mental health, I started listening to a lot of like emo hip hop. So Kanye, Kid Cudi and stuff. And then one day I came across, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them, Social Club Misfits. They're a so basically back in the days they used to do like a lot of like emo hip hop, but Christian emo hip hop. Mm-hmm. So coming from a place of where I never heard Christian rap before, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like how I feel, they're speaking about it and they like Jesus too. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I think this is a thing. So obviously I started listening to it, and from there I was literally like hooked on CHH. Started listening to like Andy Mineo, Governor A-Star, all of these people. But I feel like once you kind of don't put yourself in that bubble, in like as you were saying, you know, yes, you want to make gospel music, but you also want to make music for like young people to listen and to enjoy. People that may not understand faith, they can listen to your music, they can like resonate with your music, they can be like, yo, this is actually dope. Like, do you know what I mean? And through that, it can open a lot of doors. Like, people can actually come to Christ through music. People can come to Christ, can come to know about God for these kind of things. Like, I feel like with evangelism, there's so many different ways of doing it. It's more than just going to a high street and giving people leaflets for your church. Do you know what I mean? Like, music is a form of that. As a Christian creative in everything that you do, do you know what I mean? Like, we're passing Christ to the world. But I feel like no matter what we do, there will just always be this negative view. There will just always be this thing of where people will try and put us in a box. People try and limit us and just not allow us to be free, to be who we want to be. Do you know what I mean? Because in my opinion, you know, faith is something very personal, very, very, very personal. I don't believe any of you four have a similar faith to me. I don't even believe people in my church have a similar faith to me. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's just so unique, and people need to be allowed to express themselves.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when it comes to stuff, this is kind of my issue sometimes with these kind of things, because obviously when it comes to Christianity and stuff, it's meant to be more about the relationship and the personal faith with God and stuff. And like, I think I have this thing where I feel like a lot of people kind of just say that, but I don't think a lot of people always feel that, because, you know, it's Like it's I think maybe just as well, it's easy to look at people and judge them, or how can they be Christian because this is what they wear, or this is how they speak, or this is where they're from. Like,
Yeah.
I just think I think it's just so silly. You don't know anyone else's personal relationship with God, and your whole thing is that Christianity is meant to be. It's not, it's not about religion and following all these strict rules. It's about your relationship with Jesus Christ, which is true. But then why are you judging somebody based off their haircut?
Yeah.
Or the hoodie they're wearing? How can you assume that person can't be a Christian because of how they look, when you're the person saying, oh, it's about personal relationship with God? Like, you don't know someone else's personal relationship. You don't know anyone's relationship with anyone. Even with a human being, you can't tell someone's relationship with another human being, let alone the Most High. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely get that. But I kind of feel like with that is a thing of where people come, like, as Christians, we always want to protect our own faith. We always want to protect our own beliefs. And I feel like it gets to a point where it turns from protecting your faith and protecting your belief to just demonizing other people's thoughts and other people's way of thinking. So, like, for instance, if your faith is a certain way and someone comes up to you and they're like, no, I don't think you should do that. I think you should do this. And you're like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, why are you, like, I have my way with Jesus. This is how things work with me. Now you're telling me something completely different. That's wrong. I'm going to demonize it, but not in the sense of where people do it, but not realizing the effect in which it has on other people. People do it and they're like, oh, I'm just focusing on myself. I'm protecting myself. I'm protecting my faith. But with your actions, with what you're saying, with the way that you're reacting to other people and other people's faith, you don't know how it is affecting that person and that individual. And then that's how stuff like church hurts come to happen, and all of these things. And yeah, sorry, things like this really, I get really passionate about. These are the kind of conversations I have with my friends. So when we like touch on these kind of topics, I just start going and I really start expressing myself. Is there anything that
I have an exact experience with that as well. Like, I have a whole experience with that. It was just very, like, it did kind of upset me for a long time when you have a personal relationship with Jesus and someone comes in and saying, well, no, because you don't come to my church and you don't do things my way. So basically this girl told me I was going to go to hell, essentially.
Mad.
And that really, really hurt me, because it was like, you don't know me. This girl didn't know me.
Yeah.
She didn't know. She literally met me like once, like, and just because I didn't go to her church, or I didn't do the thing that she was doing, she was essentially saying that I'm not a Christian just because I'm not doing what she's doing. And it's like, it's meant to be a personal relationship. It's meant to be, well, I see her doing it, so I'm going to do it. It might not work for everyone.
It's true. That is so true. One thing that a bishop actually kind of said to me once, I was asking him a couple questions, and he said to me, faith is so individual and so personal. That's why we have so many different churches. And he said, you come to this church because your faith is similar to the people in this church. It's not the same, but it's similar. Now, if we bring someone to our church, we can try and teach them to be like us. But if their faith isn't like us, they're not going to be able to stay. And they will have to go and find a congregation. They will have to go and find a church in which is similar to them and similar to their faith, in which they can have a true relationship with God, in which they can have a true experience with Christ and actually get to know him. And I feel like this is something that through time, through all of these things, that people just forget. People forget. And then it gets this whole thing of where it becomes a bit childish, and it's like, oh, my church is better than yours. Oh, my church does this. Oh, my church does that. We do this in my church. And it's like, bro, like, let's just win souls for Jesus. And it's sad to see, like, for instance, I've had arguments, well, not me personally, like friends of mine have had arguments with people on Twitter about church. And I'm like, is this the image in which we're meant to portray to people? Do you know what I mean? If someone's never come to church and they see two people from different churches arguing, going back and forth with each other, do you know what I mean? Making, like cheeky tweets about other people's churches. And it's like, what's going to be their perception? What's going to be their views? And I feel like sometimes we try so hard to protect ourselves that everything as a whole we start to affect. Everything around us we start to like kind of destroy. And yeah, is there anything, I feel like I'm just talking way too much. Is there anything that any of you guys would like to say? Anything that you guys would like to share? Maybe your own personal experiences? Awkward silence. All right, then I feel like we got a bit deep there. I feel like we got a bit deep. So I think maybe we should turn back to music before we start offending my viewers and stuff. We'll start going at me on Twitter, stuff like that. So
this is why I don't have Twitter. Twitter is too much for me. Like I had it. You know what? I got Twitter like during the George Floyd situation, like just before the George Floyd situation.
Yeah.
So like you know how hectic that was. Like I think that was the worst time for me to join because it was just full of like it was way too much. I just deleted it and I haven't looked back since.
People on Twitter want to tell you how to live your life. They want to tell you how to do things and everything like that. And this whole cancel culture, I'm not 100% for it. I don't agree with it.
What do you think? What do you think about it? Like in depth.
I think I watched a video with, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, Montel Fish, and basically he was saying he's a gospel artist as well, and basically he was kind of touching upon it, and basically he was saying that how like you kind of don't have the right to cancel someone, and you can't hold people. Of course, we make mistakes, but no one's perfect. Do you know what I mean? Like you can have some messed up stuff in your closet, but because everything's all packed away and no one sees it, you come out and then you're like, oh, I am perfect. And you made this mistake. So I'm going to make sure that you know how wrong this is. I'm going to make sure you know how bad it is. And I feel like even with like the last episode, I was speaking to a friend of mine, Dylan, and we spoke about this. And we're saying how sometimes people, they speak and they don't realize how much it has an effect on other people. You know, you just get mad, you just tweet, you just you see something and then you want to share your point, you want to get it across, not thinking how the other person behind their screen is going to receive it. And sometimes we can do like, because for instance, like with him, he obviously he was doing his whole fundraising thing to get himself into Cambridge, and people were, you know, like saying horrible things about him to the point in which he wanted to give up. He wanted to stop everything. And it's like people were sharing their views. People were disagreeing with what he's doing. And literally this man started to have a breakdown because of things people were putting out on social platforms. And that's personally why I just don't agree with it. That's personally why I don't like it. I feel like it's just, it's horrible. It's hurtful. And it can just really take a toll on someone's mental health. Like during that whole George Floyd situation, I didn't even want to tweet. I didn't even want to talk about it because I'm like, if you say the wrong thing, if you miss a comma, your life is over.
That is so true.
Delete your Twitter and start again. Like everything is over. Like the floor has opened up, it has swallowed you. Like everything has just, opportunities have now gone down the drain. Friendships are being broken. So I keep my views to myself and I put them out on this platform, which I know I'm still going to get backlash on. I do. People don't agree with me, but I'm like, hey, but at least it's a small amount of people. It's not the whole of Twitter coming at me. That's personally why I just don't agree with it.
I understand.
I feel like it's different when it's like on Twitter, like someone says something that they say it in the wrong way or something, and then everyone's just like, cancel this person, like they don't deserve a job, email their uni saying they can't go to uni, like all these kind of things. I feel like they're a stretch because everyone does make mistakes, as you said, no one's perfect. But I think when it's like you've done something, I feel like the reason that cancel culture is a thing is when you see, like, for example, some big celebrity like, for example, like R. Kelly or something, where it's like they've done something that's not just like a mistake. Oh, they're just like they're a good person. They've made a mistake. It's like this shows their character kind of thing, and they've been doing something and getting away with it for a long time because of the position of power they're in or something. I feel like that's when cancel culture is like a good thing, because it's like this person doesn't deserve like opportunities anymore and stuff because they've shown that they're actually not a good person. But if it's just like on Twitter and it's like, oh, someone said something and it's like, oh, like, I don't like how they said this or whatever, or you find something from like 50 years ago that they said that like was kind of dodgy or whatever, then like I get why you'd see cancel culture as like, that's a stretch, because like in some circumstances it just is a stretch, but I think it's necessary in like other circumstances like what I was talking about. But I think it like depends on the person and stuff like that.
I think it is very contextual, like when it comes to like quote unquote cancel culture. Like I feel like, well, personally I feel like cancel culture isn't really a thing, because I feel like when it comes to like really cancelling people, like really cancelling big celebrities, like marginalized people can't cancel these celebrities. Like if a really big white celebrity says something racist, whether it's current or whether it's past or whatever, like, okay, people drag them on Twitter, but there's only so much power a marginalized group can have, because the reality is that a white racist celebrity is still gonna book stuff, still gonna have the deals, sponsorships, everything. We've seen countless times people like Jeffree Star, like, you know, it's kind of like people don't like him, okay, like he said all that stuff in the past, okay, like there's not really much you can like marginalized people can really do when it comes to canceling people. But I think that's just one type of context when it comes to like, you know, cancel culture, quote unquote. But I feel like the situation with your friend where he's trying to like, you know, do a GoFundMe and then people are kind of bringing up old stuff, and you know, I think that kind of stuff is mean. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary for anyone to really bring up old stuff. However, that being said, if it's like a celebrity, or not even just celebrity, but I feel it's a thing where people want to know who they're supporting. So it's like, if someone is asking, even if like someone's asking for money and I'm seeing in the past, oh, they used to beat people up, or like were racist, or you know, were colorist or something, like I may not want to support that person, and I kind of think it's within my right to say, you know what, I'm not going to give money to this person, or you know what, I'm not going to support this person, because what they do or what they have done doesn't align with my morals. But then again, it's like there's a difference between like not supporting somebody because what they did or have done doesn't align with your morals, and just being mean to that person. I think there's a difference there, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
If I'm like articulating myself right.
No, definitely. I kind of do feel as well, like, even like I feel like when people disagree with something, I feel like they don't also go about it in the right way. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you don't agree with something, like, okay, that's fine. Like, put it out. I don't agree with this person. I don't support this person. But then it's a thing of where in the heat of the moment, I feel like sometimes people just lash out. Do you know what I mean? Like, literally just lash out. Like, you don't agree with this person, all right, then you go to hell. Like, what? Whoa, like, do you know what I mean? That went like 0 to 100 like real quick. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're out here cursing me on Twitter just because you don't agree with me. And it's a thing of sometimes people don't even do things that, like, for instance, R. Kelly messed up. That's some real messed up stuff he did. Do you know what I mean? But then it's like people may have not done something that big. It's literally just the fact that you disagree with that person, but then you take it upon yourself to go and make that person's life hard. Like, you go put it upon yourself to go and try and destroy what that individual and what that person has built. And I feel like then that brings, even to people that haven't experienced it, that just brings so much insecurity to just the whole world. Like, this whole project with my podcast, like, it's something that I've been sitting on for like 2 years, and I was literally just scared to start because I'm like, yo, what's people gonna think? Do you know what I mean? What if I go out and I say something that people don't agree with? What if I go out and I say something that is wrong? Do you know what I mean? What if someone from like my past comes and starts saying lies about me or something like that? Like, my life would be over. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it's just it's gotten to a point where people are now afraid to be themselves, and people are now afraid to share their views, because if you don't have the same views as us, then you're wrong. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like similar to what we were speaking about with like pressure from Christianity. I feel like there's also that pressure with this whole cancel culture as well. Do you know what I mean? If you're not like us, that's wrong. Maybe they won't demonize it, but it's like, yeah, you're like, do you know what I mean? We don't agree with this. We're not gonna support you. Go to hell. All of these kind of stuff, and then like everyone in Twitter is just getting at you, and that can just really break a person down physically and mentally, and you can literally destroy someone's life, like destroy someone's purpose of living, just because of what you said, just because of a couple tweets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
I think there's always going to be that thing though. Oh, sorry.
No, carry on.
Okay. I think there's always going to be that kind of thing though. Like, it's kind of like that. People talk about Twitter as kind of like that high school thing where it's like, you know, like you got these people who are the most popular, and like if you don't agree with these people, then you're getting dragged and like all this stuff. Which is true, because that is what happens on Twitter. Like, one person will say one negative opinion about someone's media, like, oh, look at his shoes or whatever, and then suddenly the whole of Twitter is like dragging this guy's shoes when there's no problem. You know what I mean? But it's like you're gonna kind of have that thing wherever you are in life, to be honest, whether it's like as like really prominent or whether it's like quite subtle. But yeah, the thing with what's it called? Oh, flip man, I forgot my train of thought. What is it? Yeah, you're always gonna have that thing where it's like a group of people who say one thing, and then like, you know, if you're not in that group of people, then you're just getting dragged or whatever. But the thing is, like, it's always going to be there. So you either be quiet or you say like how you feel. But I feel like with like Christians, it's important to not just silence yourself just in case of the possibility of getting dragged. Do you know what I mean? Because then you're just going to be silent for your whole life. Like, there's always the possibility that people won't agree with you, or yeah, you might get dragged because you disagree with the majority. But I don't think that should hold you back so much that like you're scared. I mean, obviously there will be that fear sometimes, because when you see the way these people can actually get dragged, but at the end of the day, you just have to say what you think in faith, because really and truly, that's just who you are. Like, you can't silence yourself just because of fear of getting dragged. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Makes sense.
And also, I think like again, it is contextual. I feel like a lot of there's different levels of like cancellation. Do you know what I mean? I do think that when it comes to like not even just as a Christian, but in general, I think the reason why some people get angry is because when you say certain buzzwords or when you say certain things, a lot of these ideas have been used to, you know, strip away people's humanity, or have been used to justify like taking away people's human rights in the past. So when you're in the present and you're saying that same rhetoric that was used to, you know, oppress people in the past, like, you need to understand to an extent that what you're saying is going to cause some backlash, and you need to kind of be prepared for that. Because if that's how you think, then, you know, that's you being you. No one's saying, or no one's taking away your, you know, human rights, or no one's taking away your right to speak about a certain thing. But you need to be you need to understand that people, you know, were, you know, sometimes killed over these things. Sometimes, you know, they weren't allowed to have certain rights over these things. And if you're saying that same rhetoric now, these same people are gonna not like you and are gonna say stuff in anger, because what you said has actually been pretty harmful in the past. Like, you need to be aware of that and be able to like take accountability and understand where people might be offended or might be upset. But if that's how you think, then you should just own it. Say it with your chest. At the end of the day, like, what's gonna happen? You've said what you said. Like, you said what you mean.
Yeah.
So a bit of you needs to kind of be a bit responsible in that aspect. That, okay, well, you know, if you say this, then this is going to be the response. Like, you know. So then when people start coming to you and calling you racist or calling you blah 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 blah, like, why you shouldn't be the one crying, because you knew what you said before you said it, and you knew the impact it was going to have before you even typed it out.
Yeah.
In that context, obviously the context can be different, but yeah.
One though, that's kind of a sticky one, because what if somebody moves on from that stage and then starts doing good things in the world and people just keep bringing that up? Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's out of order in my.
That's when you get someone to go through your tweets and delete everything.
Yeah.
Literally, no. No,
For real.
Listen, when I started my podcast, I won't even lie to you. I just went through all my tweets and said, nah. Said this here, nah. This. It's not. I'm not. I wasn't tweeting mad stuff, by the way. Not him being racist, nothing like that.
You can't ever, like, you need to always check through those things regardless. Even if something is slightly, you better just delete
Yeah,
it.
if it doesn't align with who you are now, then it needs to go. Like,
yeah. I had to just go through and I was like, no, man, honestly. Like, literally, I was just seeing how people were getting cancelled. I was like, I don't want this. I don't want this to be the last you hear of me, the last you hear of Mr. Fantastic, just because I said something stupid, just because I was angry. Do you know what I mean? Someone got me mad and I said, do you know what I mean? And I tweeted something stupid. Oh, these kind of people, or people from this country. Oh, do you know what I mean? Like, I had to go and just delete, like, not a lot of stuff. I'm not a bad guy. I'm a good Christian boy. You know, just had to delete just a couple things here and there. And yeah. But so I think I just want to ask all of you now, like, why is it that you guys decided to start doing what you do? Why is it that you guys decided to start making music, and not only music, gospel music as well? What inspired you? What, you know, put you in this path that you guys are all on right now? You can just go, you know, share. That would be nice.
I think that, well, the reason that we started like singing together was because like we all went to the same church. And like, you know, like during like praise and worship and stuff, we'd all just be like doing harmonies, like adding runs, just like being extra. But like it was just banter. But like at one point, me and Joy's mum was like, "Oh, you guys should like actually like sing together, like rehearse together, like see what you can do, that kind of thing."
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, "Yeah, like let's just see." And we just started doing rehearsals where we just like, you know, practice like doing harmonies and stuff and that kind of thing, just within church. And then like, and then later at a point, I think like after about a month or two, Miracle started coming to rehearsals as well. And also her brother started coming too. Like there was quite a lot of us coming in that
loads of us at one point.
Yeah, at one point it was like 7 of us, but it was kind of, it wasn't like serious. It would just be like us like practicing to like sing in church on Sunday or that kind of thing, like on Easter or something like that. But yeah, there was a lot of us coming in and out. We were just singing together, and what we noticed, like after like even like the first rehearsal, we were like, yeah, like the way our voices blend together was like really nice. So obviously we were just getting gas. We were like, yeah, let's like continue doing this or whatever. We just started learning like new songs we could perform and that kind of thing, just with the type of music that we vibe with. So not really necessarily like what we would usually sing in church, just any song that kind of spoke to us. And yeah, so we just started performing in church more and more. And then when we first got together we first started rehearsing in like 2015. And we were just singing in church for a while, and doing like different events in church and that kind of thing. Then later we started doing like we'd be invited to like different events outside of church or like competitions and stuff like that. We've done like Open Mic UK, which is just like a competition, which was quite a good opportunity. And then also like we did another competition with this record label called KB Records. That was like last year that we did that. And then yeah, so like within like the last year, that's when we first started like actually recording music and that kind of thing. But yeah, it all started within church. So obviously that's why, and obviously our name is Gospel X as well, because that was the type of music that we felt drawn to do. So yeah, like the reason that we stick with obviously gospel is because that's really where it all started. Like without gospel music, and if it wasn't for us being together in church, then we wouldn't have really come together as a group anyway. Like I wouldn't have, for like me for example, I was never really like, oh, I love singing, like I want to be a singer. Like I never really thought that until it was like us together in church, and that's where I first started like developing that kind of thing. But yeah, like that's where it all started. So yeah, that's why we just keep it like that. And also it's us singing together. It's kind of like a nice way of doing our kind of outreach, because obviously, I mean, you've got your podcast, for example. Some people do like blogs and that kind of thing, but for us it's music. So yeah, that's why we don't really stick with one particular genre as well, because then, like, you know, you have opportunity to outreach to different people who might not necessarily like often listen to Christian music or gospel music.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyone else have anything to say about what got you into music?
I would just say, like, I feel like when it's even if one of us wanted to do music by ourselves, I think the fact that we did it together was what made it so like good. Because for me, obviously, like, I feel like a lot of us probably just sing in our houses and it's like we're just singing to a song, whatever. We never think I have to be a singer kind of thing. Like, you don't really have the confidence in yourself. But then when you kind of come together with other people, especially because we were already like friends, it kind of drew us closer as well. And then the closer we were, like, the better like we sounded together and stuff like that. And when you're with other people, I feel like, especially because we started doing concerts as well, like annual concerts, just in church, and like quite a lot of people would come and support us. And I feel like a lot of us became more confident, like, in just like performing and stuff, because we were beside each other. Like, I wouldn't be able to do like a whole solo thing where I'm just standing by myself. Like, the fact that I have them beside me is what makes it like a lot better. And the fact that it's like all to do with like God and stuff, just like, it's nice because it's with our friends as well, and like in our religion and stuff. It's just nice, the whole combination basically.
Yeah, it just all fits together. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, with me, it wasn't really, I didn't know you guys before obviously I started doing the singing, so I feel like music was just a massive part of my relationship with God. I prefer that to like most of the preaching and things. I feel like I connect more with the music side of things. So when I joined, when we started like sounding good together and stuff, that's when I started to take it more seriously, and then performing in church and then doing like worship leading, that's when I started to take it more seriously. Yeah.
With me, like, I've always liked to be like on the stage and like singing and anything, singing, acting, dancing, even like reading one line of like a paper or anything. Like, I've just always loved to perform. But in church, it wasn't really translating as well. Like, obviously, I had loved to do like nativity stuff since I was little, but like the church that we was going to, it was like obviously I love the church in it, but the worship was kind of dead. Like, it was stagnant. Like, it wasn't going anywhere. And we were kind of like, I remember me and my sister and Temi, we'd always kind of add little runs to it to just make it a bit more spicy, because it was just very, you know, monotonous sometimes. And then my mum was like, you know, why don't you just like sing in the church, like where the worship team is, so we could spice up a little bit, you know. And we did, and we were brilliant. We were singing all types of new songs, gospel songs, adding harmonies, like stuff that the church hadn't really heard before. And like you said, everything you do will have a little bit of backlash. We did get our own fair set of backlash, and we were all like 15, 16, and then we had people, you know, kind of not liking what we were doing, but, you know, we just kept pushing on, and, you know, here we are today. I think we're in a lot better position than some of the people who were talking about us. So
Wow.
Oh, throwing a bit of shade. Why not?
It's honestly like really, really inspirational, you know, to hear how everything started, how everything just came together. And something that I really believe in is like the whole saying, your vibe attracts your tribe. And I feel like that's what happened with each and every single one of you. You know, you had the same vibe, you had the same love for music, and just one by one, you just all came together, and were able to bless the world with such a dope group.
Thank you.
Welcome. But yeah, I really hope that, you know, with like everything that you guys are doing from here on out, I really hope that, you know, you guys can really inspire other people, because I know there's people out there that want to do what you're doing, and like they're worried, they're scared of how the world will receive their art, they're scared of how people in their church may see what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? And just the fact that you guys have, you know, done what you've done, you started and you're here, you know, on this platform, just explaining it and sharing your experiences. I just hope that there's, you know, other people that will come up and just start doing gospel music as well. And I look forward to hearing more from you lot. I look forward to you know, commenting on your YouTube videos. I've spoken to them. I got to meet them. You know them. And yeah, and I just know that like the future is honestly going to be bright for each and every single one of you. And yeah, great things are to come. Is there anything that you lot would like to say? Anything that you like to plug? You know, before we finish.
Follow our Instagram account at GospelX Official, please.
Instagram, Twitter at GospelX Official, Facebook Official Gospel X, YouTube just Gospel X. But
yeah, we just recently dropped our music video, so if you want to go check that out, if you haven't,
check it out on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
It's already got is it 1,000 views already?
Yeah, more than 1K.
So you're missing out.
You
Just
really
put on your view.
Yeah, make sure you guys, you go follow them. Make sure you listen to their music, watch their videos, and also comment, say Mr. Fantastic sent you, so that they know the work that I've been doing. And it's been an amazing chat. I feel like we spoke on some really interesting stuff. I feel like we shed light on a couple things that you know, needed to be spoken about. I feel like we spoke on things that had conversations that maybe the church isn't really too ready for, but you know, needs to be spoken about. And I just hope you all enjoyed you know, this episode. So I think it's time that we wrap it up, and thank you. So make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and also on Twitter as well. And yeah, and also majority of you that watch the podcast on YouTube, you're actually not subscribed. So if you can hit that subscribe button, would love it. It's completely free. If later on you guys don't like the content, you know, you can just unsubscribe. But thank you very much, and peace.